Hi, we are going to pick up where we left off from the case of the disappearing dinosaur. So here we go. Chapter 5 How the Cookie Crumbles. Mila led us to a tidy row of stores on Waverly Avenue. We stopped about 10 feet from Huck's Hardware. Joey pointed to the ground beside a row of hedges. We found the purse right there, he told her. I knelt down with my handy-dandy magnifying glass. The dirt was still wet from last night's rain. When I stood up, my knees were muddy. Mom wasn't going to like that. But hey, what are knees for anyway? It rained hard last night, Mila noted, but the satin purse was pretty dry. No bad water stains. The owner must have dropped the purse this morning. Makes sense to me, I agreed. Let me look at that list again. Ralphie read over my shoulder, he noted. I bet the corner store sells tape, cards, candles, and wrapping paper. But what about the cake? I asked. That's the important item on the list. Look at the writing, all capital letters, 3 exclamation points. Then look at the other items on the list. Candles, card, wrapping paper, tape. I'd bet my baseball cap it's somebody's birthday. Where can you get a cake around here? Mila asked. Joey and Ralphie grinned happily. Grandma's Bakery. Bells jingled-jangled when we opened the front door. Grandma's Bakery was cool and airy, and it smelled like a slice of heaven. 2 teenage girls stood behind a glass counter filled with pastries. The tall girl smiled, flashing big white teeth. The other girl was short and grim. She looked like she just swallowed a sour ball. I noticed that her hair was a spiky mess. It was possibly the worst haircut I'd ever seen, and I'd seen a few in my time. Sometimes on top of my own head. I asked the tall girl if anyone had picked up a birthday cake this morning. Why should we tell you? The bad haircut girl sniped. I'm working on a case, I explained. I'm a detective. I handed her a business card. The bad haircut girl sneered. Yeah, right. You don't look like detectives to me. Oh, just ignore Brenda, the tall girl remarked. She pulled out a thick black book filled with the day's receipts. We sold 4 cakes this morning, she informed us, leafing through the pages. Let's see. A man came in and brought 2 chocolate cream pies. Then an older woman, Mrs. Alessi, picked up a strawberry shortcake. Yum, Joey moaned. I love strawberry shortcake. And the other cake? I prodded. The tall girl mused. Yes, here it is. Mrs. Maloney bought a birthday cake for her son, Charlie. I remember the name because I did the lettering myself. Charlie Maloney, Mila exclaimed. That's Biggs. Of course. His birthday is tomorrow afternoon. His mom must have dropped the purse this morning when she picked up the cake. I thanked the nice girl behind the counter, grunted at the mean one, and copied down the phone number from the receipt. Then I slid a quarter into the payphone and pushed buttons. 15 minutes later, Mrs. Maloney rushed into the store. She had a toddler at her feet and another one in her arms. What a racket! Carrying around a screaming police siren might have been quieter and drier. The kids looked like identical twins, probably because they were. I'd met them before at Biggs Maloney's house, Larry and Harry. Poor Mrs. Maloney looked about as calm as a Siamese cat at a dog show. She was just the type to drop a purse and not notice. Here they are at the bakery. Jigsaw, she exclaimed when she saw us. Thank you so much for calling. What an honest young man. Don't thank me, I said. It was these 2. You know, Joey Pignato and Ralphie Jordan. They're the heroes who found your purse. Mrs. Maloney smiled at them. Suddenly, she noticed Mila for the first time. Oh, hello, Mila. I guess we'll be seeing you at the party tomorrow, too? Mila smiled. Yep, we'll all be there. Biggs invited everyone from Miss Gleason's class, even the girls. Just then, one of the twins spouted a leak or something. A puddle formed on the floor. On cue, the twin in Mrs. Maloney's arm started to wail. Wah! 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 Oh, for crying out loud, groaned Mrs. Maloney. What a day. Still, I'm so grateful to you children. How could I possibly thank you? Joey offered a suggestion, and like most of Joey's ideas, it involved food. 2 minutes later, Mrs. Maloney drove off in her car. Mila and I made sure the coin purse was safely tucked into her pocketbook. Joey, Ralphie, Mila, and I went outside and sat under an old willow tree. The grass was nice and dry beneath it. Each of us bit into our own black and white cookie. Awesome, Joey explained. And he was right. It was our reward. Thanks to Mrs. Maloney, we all chewed happily in silence, enjoying every bite, because that's the way the black and white cookie crumbles. It pays to be honest, and that's something that guys like Bobby Solofsky would never understand. Happily eating under the tree, I thought my detective work was done for the weekend. But I didn't realize that another case awaited us. It involved a dinosaur, a birthday party, and a magic trick that went very, very wrong. Chapter 6. Go, Rags, go! Mila and I have been sending secret messages to each other since dinosaurs ruled the earth. Okay, maybe not that long, but it has been a while. Codes are the best way for detectives to talk to each other, and it's fun, too. Besides, like my favorite baseball team, the New York Mets, we needed the practice. After doing the dishes that night, I went into my bedroom with my trusty dog, Rags. I figured Rags liked to think that he was helping on a case in some way, or he just liked sleeping on my soft, thick rug. I decided to try an IPPY code. It was simple. All you had to do was add the letters IP after every consonant and each word. So the word dog becomes dippogip, and Biggs becomes bip gip sip. I wrote, I bipot gipt bip ip gypsip. Now no one can read it. Except for Mila. She already knew about IPPY codes. To decode it all Mila had to do was cross out the IP letters. I called Mila on the phone. Don't talk, I warned. Enemies may be listening. Just stand by your front door, wave a doggy snack, and call Rags. Got it? Mila coughed 3 times. That was our signal. She understood. I hung up the phone and taped the message inside Rags' collar. Okay, Ragsy, I said. Time to do your stuff. Mila lived down the block, and Rags knew the way by heart. Or, I guess, by nose. I opened the front door and whispered to Rags, Go, boy, find Mila. Rags looked at me, wondering why I wasn't coming with him. Why he was standing outside, why his nose was always wet and cold. Rags! Rags! I've got a treat for you! Mila's voice threaded through the distance. Rags' keen ears lifted. He suddenly understood the meaning of life. It was all about food. Glorious food. Off he raced, chasing the promise of doggy snacks, hangry as a sumo wrestler, at a free buffet. There the dog is, running. Good old Rags. Sure, maybe Shaggy had Scooby-Doo. Maybe that guy on Blue's Clues had Blue. But I had my own flea-bitten hairball to help with detective work. Rags, a detective's best friend. Chapter 7. Meet Buster. Mila, Ralphie, Joey, and I piled into my dad's minivan. We were late for Biggs Maloney's birthday party. Joey kept licking his lips and whispering, I want cake. I want cake. Shh, Joey, Mila hushed. There's more to a party than eating cake. I know, Joey said, but I can't stop thinking about cake ever since we went to Grandma's bakery yesterday. Buckle up, my dad urged. Let's get a move on. I've got to get back to take Daniel and Nicholas to soccer practice. Then I've got to drive Hillary to the Steamer 10 Theater, he sighed. I feel like I spend half my life shuttling you kids to practices and dentist appointments and birthday parties. One of these days I'm going to trade in this minivan and get myself a little red sports car. I'd heard that speech a million times before, except usually my dad described the goggles and long white scarf he'd wear. But that's grown-ups for you. They're always complaining about something, Usually us kids, it's like they used to be short ones too. Go figure. And at the front door of the Maloney's house, we heard crying and screaming and the yip yip yapping of a small puppy. I didn't know Biggs had a dog, Mila said. The door swung open and a small brown dog leaped at our throats. Yip yip yip! It yapped, scratching out Ralphie's pants. There's the dog. Down, Buster, down, boy, Biggs commanded. Meanwhile, Buster, the dog, kept bouncing up and down like a fluffy basketball, licking, yipping, yapping. Somebody gave that dog too much coffee, Ralphie joked. He's adorable, Mila gushed. She bent down to pet the puppy, only to get licked like a lollipop. I've been slimed, Mila moaned. Biggs introduced us. This is Buster. We just got him yesterday. He's my birthday present. Mrs. Maloney appeared behind Biggs. As usual, she had a baby in her arms. The other twin toddled near her feet, gurging and laughing at Buster's antics. Yes, a new dog, Mrs. Maloney said, looking tired and frazzled. We didn't think life was crazy enough already. I laughed. I've got 3 brothers and a sister and a big dog, I told her. Our house gets pretty noisy sometimes. My dad calls it a joyful racket, except I'm not sure he always thinks it's so joyful. 5 kids! That does sound like a racket, Mrs. Maloney said with a weary grunt. She heaved a baby from one arm to the other. You've already met the twins. This is Larry, and that's Harry, she added, eyes toward the ground. He's the one sucking on Jigsaw's sneakers. Yeesh, what a party. First dog slime, then baby slobber, and we hadn't even gotten past the front door. Okay, Larry, no more eating my sneaky weekies, I cooed. No, Jigsaw. That's Larry, Mila said, pointing at the baby in Mrs. Maloney's arms. The one washing your shoes with drool is Harry. That's the problem with twins. They'd be okay, I guess, except they look alike. Do you ever get them mixed up? I asked Mrs. Maloney. I hope not, Mrs. Maloney laughed. Actually, there's an easy way to tell the difference. Larry has a freckle on his nose. Harry doesn't. But please, come on in. You can put your presents on the table. Everyone is out in the backyard. Mr. Maloney is getting ready to begin the water balloon toss as we speak. Great! We raced through the house and into the backyard, screaming at the top of our lungs. So, that's all for today, and tomorrow we will finish this book. There are only a few more chapters, and we'll find out what happens in the magic show and at the party.